ガキ俺の前で何になると言ったと思う。
こいつは生意気なのさ。俺の前でもずいぶん大口叩いたよね、麦わら。
お前が一体何になるのか、もう一度言ってみろ。
ゴムゴムのヘッドロック。お前が殴り倒されるなんて。
俺はモンキー D ルフィ超えて海賊王になる男だ。
In One Piece, fights aren't always about who's stronger. Sometimes it's about sending a message, and that's when things get truly disrespectful. From Law humiliating his enemies, to Luffy toying with the strongest in the One Piece world, these are the moments when characters didn't just win, they disrespected their enemies.
何の真似だ。君らしくない戦術だったな。なぜ必要に能力を使う。遊びはおしまいだ。鬼たけ。
確かに返してもらった。
これで借りはなしだ。
おかげで助かったのも事実だな。
さっさと蹴りをつけろ。
これで終わりだ。
On Punk Hazard, Virgo thought he had the upper hand. Covered in hockey and holding Law's heart, his confidence was sky high. But once Smoker stole it back, Law ended things in the most disrespectful way possible. One move that cut not only Virgo, but the entire surroundings.
Oh, こちらキザル。到着しましたんで、応答願います。
Because Luffy punched that celestial dragon, the Marines had to send in an admiral, and that's when Kizaru arrived. Riding in casually on a cannonball, completely laid back as if the battlefield didn't matter. The so-called rising stars tried to stand their ground, but Kizaru toyed with them effortlessly, turning their big moment into pure disrespect.
光の速度で蹴られたことはあるかい？師匠！どいつもこいつも。大きい船長！目が見えない。いつか知らねえけども実態はあるな。俺たちを殺しに鷹の目のミホーク50隻を沈めた男なのか。
あの剣であの大帆船をぶった切ったんですか。
何の恨みがあって俺たちを狙うんだ。
暇つぶし。
ふざけんな。
Now we have the current strongest swordsman in the One Piece world. His entrance was already nothing short of legendary. Mihawk disrespected Don Krieg's crew by slicing their ship just because he was bored. But the ultimate flex came against Zoro.
のに全力を出すバカな獣とは違う。
どうバカにすんのも大概にしろ。鬼。何？世界がこんなに遠いはずがねえんだ。俺はこんなおもちゃにあしらわれるために今日まで剣を振ってきたわけじゃない。
When Jinbei told Big Mom he wanted to leave her crew, she brought out a massive roulette wheel filled with brutal punishments. The message was clear: no one leaves without paying a price. But Jinbei never spun it, and later, during the wedding, Big Mom tried again, this time with her terrifying life or stay command. What followed is something only Jinbei can do. He respectfully disrespected Big Mom.
Stay or life!
ライフじゃ。
死にな。
まさかここでジンベエが。
Stay or life!
魂が出てこねえ。1ミリもママにビビってねえんだ。
当然じゃ。海賊王のクルーになろうちゅう男が4カごときに臆しておられるか。寿命を取らんのなら杯は返上する。ビッグマム海賊団を辞めさせてもらう。どうもお世話になりやした。
Enel thought he was untouchable, a god ruling over Skypiea with the power of lightning. But when Luffy confronted him, he didn't buy into the hype. He questioned what made Enel a god in the first place. And in the very next moment, Enel's arrogance collapsed. That expression on his face, shock, disbelief, pure humiliation, became one of the most disrespectful moments in all of One Piece.
貴様もただの人間ではないらしい。私の前では何もかもが無料。話にならん。故に神なり。
避けた。
6000万オルタナオーリー。
ルフィに雷は効かない。少し考えれば分かることだったのよ。しろ
ひとまず私の体に物理的攻撃は効かんのだ。正解の猿い。
In Odin's flashback, we got to see one of the most epic sights in all of One Piece, Roger and Whitebeard clashing head-on. That impact alone was enough to shake the island and mark the start of a battle between two of the greatest crews in history. Amid all that chaos came a brief but unforgettable exchange. Rayleigh against young Marco. It lasted only a moment, but it stood out as one of the highlights of the clash.
わははは、身ぐるみを置いてけ。
奪し取れ。やっつわね。二人の激突。ロジャー海賊団対白ひげ海賊団。拮抗する激闘は3日3晩続いた。調子に乗るなよい。少年、私は常に真剣なんだよ。
On Punk Hazard, Monet had complete control over the battlefield. Her Logia powers gave her the edge, and Tashigi was quickly overwhelmed. Confident, Monet thought she had nothing to fear since Zoro doesn't fight against women. But then he stepped in. Zoro didn't even need to finish the fight. The way he handled her was enough. At this moment, he went ice cold.
女に手を出さないじゃないの。
俺はぼちぼち先に進む。
今完全に私を切る気で斬撃。
猛獣に会ったことあるか。俺はねえな。
一刀流。
何？体が動かない。
大神官。
On Sabaody, the celestial dragons acted like untouchable gods, shooting people for fun and treating everyone like trash. When one of them shot Luffy's friend, even he begged Luffy not to fight back, knowing what the consequences would be. But Luffy didn't care.
ごめんだ。 前ムカつくい。
In a flashback, we see a young Sabo training with Hack of the Revolutionary Army. Even back then, Sabo wasn't fazed at all. He dodged and countered like it was nothing, holding his own against a master of fishman karate. It was clear he wasn't just a normal child. He was now in the right place, learning and growing among the revolutionaries. Sabo may have lost his memories, but he never forgot how to move his body and fight, and this short scene showed it perfectly.
こんなの体がなまっちゃうよ。
と待て。
トレーニングしてくれよ。
おお、体に染みついたものは忘れていないようだ。かなりの悪ガキだったのかもしれんな。まだまだ。
Next, we have another Hack moment. In the Colosseum, Hack stepped in serious and confident, ready to crush his opponents with fishman karate. But when he struck Bartolomeo, something unbelievable happened. His hand broke on impact.
4000枚瓦聖剣なんて
That was the first time everyone saw Bartolomeo's barrier in action, and the way he reacted made it even worse. He laughed, mocked the crowd, and even pissed right there in the arena, showing zero respect for anyone. Everyone in the Colosseum hated him, but there was nothing they could do. Bartolomeo turned the whole fight into pure humiliation.
Toki wa michita. これやばいんじゃないか。嘘だろ。逃げろ。なんという威力。エリザベロ2世、たった一撃のパンチでベラミ、グルーギリ、その他優勝候補も。おい、あそこ見ろ。誰かいるぞ。
バリアバリアクラッシュ。
B ブロック勝者はバルトロメオ。
On Punk Hazard, Law had another moment which proved that he was the boss there. When Law faced off against the Marines, he effortlessly took out Tashigi before turning his attention to Smoker himself. The two went head-to-head, but Law always felt in control. By the end, it looked less like a fight and more like a reminder of the gap between them. Smoker never really had a chance.
なんて屈辱。言うならば殺せ。
弱えやつは。場所を変えなきゃ見えねえ景色もあるんだ。メス。何一つ。
Next, we have a moment where Sanji broke the physics. He made the impossible possible. And at this point, everyone was shocked by what they just witnessed. I hope we will see a true 1v1 between these two one day. It was a moment that showed Sanji's limits are far beyond what anyone expected.
諦めろ。
嘘だろ。お前レーザーだぞ。
俺には関係ねえ。
愛は光より強えんだ。
ぶつくは終わっちまうよ。
At Impel Down, chaos was spreading everywhere, and even Blackbeard made his move inside the prison. With his new crew at his side, he thought he could run wild. But then Magellan, the warden of Impel Down, showed up. With no hesitation, he unleashed his poison and crushed Blackbeard's entire crew in seconds. For a man who would later become a Yonko, being wiped out so effortlessly was nothing short of humiliating. In that moment, Magellan reminded everyone who really ran Impel Down.
おめんがマゼランか。ヒドラ。こりゃ毒か。お前たちがここへ来た理由を聞く時間。
Back in Water 7, before Frankie officially became part of the crew, Robin gave him a very special kind of welcome. With her ability, she grabbed him where it hurt most, leaving him frozen in shock while everyone else looked on. That was a warm welcome from a future crewmate, and in that instant, Frankie realized there was another boss on the ship besides Luffy.
ドスフルールフラップ逃げた逃げてさもげるわいなロビン男のまま仲間にしたいんだよ見るだけでいてて Before Robin showed Frankie what kind of warm welcome awaited him, the story quickly reminded us what was really at stake. At Eni's lobby, Robin's life was in the hands of the world government, and the Straw Hat stood against impossible odds. That's when Luffy gave the order, and Sogeking fired a flaming shot into the sky, setting the flag of the world government ablaze for everyone to see. It wasn't just defiance, it was a declaration of war.
これが世界だ。
ソゲキング、あの旗撃ち抜け。
了解。
ファイヤーバードスター。
アタック。
世界政府に宣戦布告しやがった
ロビン行きたいぞイエーイ生きる
守ってくれる仲間が現れる
生きたい私も一緒に海忘れてった
On Zoo, Jack pushed his luck too far. He came back with his fleet and even dared to attack the ancient elephant carrying an entire nation on its back. But Zunisha was waiting for the voice of Momonosuke, and when that command finally came, everything changed. In the end, the so-called mammoth learned who the real elephant was.
おい払ってくれ
承知した。
この気迫何をする気だ
花。
Next, we have a moment where King showed why he is Kaido's right-hand man. While everyone was watching the live screen showing Big Mom on her way, King went out all by himself. Even Kaido was ready to step in and face her, but King didn't wait. Annoyed and wanting to end it quickly, he struck and sent their ship crashing back down. Just like that, he brushed aside an entire Yonko crew as if it was nothing.
何を船一隻に手間取っている。ついにワノ国か。
あいつはキングか。
なんだあれは
しろ。
着いたぞワノ国。
あいつまだ
貴様
ワノ国の地に踏み入れさせはしない。
When Big Mom's crew tried once again to reach Wano, they were prepared. King had already given them a trauma, so this time they made sure to be extra cautious. And again, they saw something flying toward them. Thinking it was King, they braced themselves only to realize it was Marco. And just like that, Marco did the exact same thing. Big Mom's crew got sent back down again.
Next, we have one of the most humiliating moments in all of Wano's history. For 5 long years, Odin danced in the streets, stripping him of his pride and turning him into a laughingstock. The people mocked him, not knowing the truth behind his actions. And when the time finally came to face Kaido, it still wasn't a real fight. Orochi mocked him, Kaido deceived him, and what should have been a fair showdown turned into a cruel setup. It wasn't strength that brought Odin down. It was lies, betrayal, and pure humiliation. This was one of those moments that was truly hard to watch.
一人で背負い込み続けていた。オロチをカイドウを撃つぞ。5年前のあの日、あれは全部嘘だったんだな。私と交わした約束。カイドウ。おろろ、全部嘘だ。だがお前はオロチの言葉を信じ、裸になって笑われ蔑まれながらバカは踊り続けた。
When Luffy finally stood face to face with Kaido and Wano, he came in swinging with everything he had. Gear forth, blow after blow, Luffy was determined to take the Emperor down. But then, Kaido stood back up, almost unfazed, and with a single strike ended the fight instantly. For Luffy, it was crushing, but for Kaido, it was casual. A Yonko reminding the world that the gap between them was still far too wide.
Horse!
But if there's one thing about Luffy, it's that he always comes back. No matter how many times Kaido knocked him down, he kept getting up. And after being beaten again and again, something finally changed. Luffy's heartbeat shifted, the drums of liberation began to sound, and in that moment, Gear 5 was born. Suddenly, the tables had turned. The same Kaido who once one-shotted Luffy now found himself being toyed with. For the first time, the so-called strongest creature in the world wasn't the one in control. Luffy was. Next on our list, we have Shanks. When Green Bull came to Wano, he thought the weakened samurai would be easy prey. He had already started showing off his power when Shanks unleashed his haki from miles away, crushing him without ever stepping onto the battlefield. For a brand new Marine Admiral, that was a brutal reminder of the gap in power. A welcome to the new world delivered with nothing but pure disrespect. After defeating Big Mom, Kid's confidence was sky high. He marched into Elbaf ready to challenge another Yonko, certain he could stand on equal ground. But this time, it wasn't Big Mom. It was Big Daddy Shanks, and Shanks had no interest in dragging things out.
Last on our list, we have another Gear 5 moment. On Egghead Island, Luffy first clashed with Admiral Kizaru and later stood face-to-face with Saturn of the Five Elders. After decades, the Elders finally stepped onto the battlefield, delivering an entrance like no other. Most pirates would have been crushed by just one of them, but Luffy didn't flinch. In Gear 5, he turned the chaos into his playground, blocking Kizaru, standing up to Saturn, and laughing the whole way through. Only Luffy could face an admiral and one of the Gorosei and make it look like he was just having fun.
そっちじゃねえこっちだベッキムーンおままおっさんを連れてけ痛がっても構わねえおしりペンペン
どけ
あやどうしたどうしたお前らは逃がすわけねえだろ